Business, like politics, is all about the elevator pitch. It's selling your big idea in a small space of time. But why is European government failing to deliver the goods? How would business solve the migrant crisis or youth unemployment?
What I always found fascinating about business is that business-minded and oriented people, they put their very clear aims and they know that in 5 years they want to reach there. Yes, but times are turbulent, things can change very fast, so the moment they see that their aim is probably not tangible enough and they need to amend it and change it, they sit together and say, okay, we probably cannot reach there, what can we do? In the public sphere, we tend very often to do the opposite.
Successful global companies change direction when the game plan isn't working. They set the target and incentivize the team. But when Europe's CEO, Jean-Claude Juncker, wants to change direction, he has to convince 28 member states to agree.
The current structures of the European Union were prepared for 6, maybe 12 member states. We have now 28. The problematical situations which we are in now are maybe good to create a new wave of rethinking the structures and the mechanisms of the functioning of the system.
The financial crisis is a typical example of where we got it badly wrong. It took us over 3 years to respond. When Europe finally did respond, we did show that we can, at certain crisis moments, come together with a common approach.
The management of a big firm makes or breaks the business. Europe's citizens are demanding better value for money. They want to see value for what they've bought. Regional development is one way the European Union has tried to demonstrate that we're better together, but in the past, spending has been poorly controlled. Today, the management team is increasingly demanding financial transparency when it comes to spending. The rules weren't working, but Europe has learned some lessons. It's no longer a startup enterprise.
We can change the rules if they are old and if they make the implementation more complicated. This is what we did today in Regi Committee. We decided to change the rules because we have an extraordinary situation and we have to take extraordinary measures.
I think we have to find the right balance between simplification and better controlling how the European money are spent.
So if Europe is to redefine its way of doing business, what can it learn from the corporate world? Well, first of all, there's branding. Europe, like Coca Cola, has one brand and several flavors. The original Coke has all the ingredients. Diet Coke is best served with ice. Coke Zero is packaged in a very dark bottle. And the new kid on the block, Coke Life, is naturally sweet.
Voters do not really know who has been responsible for a necessary action in Europe which has not been taken. It's very untransparent to see who is blocking right decisions. In business, it's different. If you pick a product, you make an experience, you know there's a brand, and you don't buy it again.
I think what is important is the way those brands work. They do a very big market surveillance. So they are very aware what people want and what they need. What we have to do is make sure we know what the European citizen want and make sure we provide it in a timely manner. Not in 5 years, not in 10 years, but as early as possible. Act a little bit faster according to the expectations of citizens.
Ronald Reagan said, "The most terrifying words in the English language are, 'I'm from the government and I'm here to help.'" While most Europeans favour a government-led social model, their trust in government is diminishing, and yet their trust in some corporate brands is increasing. So can business really do it better? Can a business approach solve today's big political problems? Swedish entrepreneurs and humanitarians Susanne Jaffe and Imad Zand have launched Refugee Air to airlift Syrian refugees directly into the European Union. I spoke with the Refugee Air team and asked them what European government should do differently.
I think that governments have much longer decision periods that they need to go through and processes. And being an entrepreneur and being from the private sector, we can act much quicker. And hopefully that can also speed up the political process by showing how many people feel that this is an important issue.
What kind of leadership does Europe need now?
It needs a visionary, strong leader that can gather the countries around us And we are not seeing, at least, that being brought to the citizens in any other capacity than Angela Merkel, to be honest. She's the one that has really stepped up on a true European level as a global thought leader.
The way I envisage European leaders, they first need to be inspiring. They need to be able to bring Europeans on the same path that they vision. And most importantly, they need to be honest to them. Because you rightly pointed out that if you do not perform very well in your organization, in your business, there's consequences. This is not the case very often for people working in politics.
What kind of leadership is missing in Brussels?
I think visionary. I think that sometimes we have to go back to why we have a European Union, to make peace. You know, it's a peace process. As a former Nobel Prize winner said, it's the most successful peace process the world has ever known. We should never forget the past, but we also must make sure that we think to the future. The humanitarian crisis on our doorstep is our responsibility as well. We cannot turn away from our close neighbours. We have responsibilities under international law to help refugees, and we must take those responsibilities seriously.
It's 160,000. That's the number Europeans have to take in charge and have to take in their arms.
If the European Commission really thought like digital age entrepreneurs, it could see the migrant crisis as a logistics issue, a solvable logistics puzzle. Take out the emotion, and essentially it's a matter of moving people from one place to another, providing a safe environment and basic secure living needs on a temporary basis. You may not like thinking of migrants this way, but in terms of problem solving, it's a useful exercise. Imagine the European Commission was actually a business. Let's call it amazing. President Juncker would go online knowing that 160,000 migrants doesn't even come close to solving the migrant crisis. He would select prefab accommodation for 2 million people, choosing from a list of approved suppliers. Then he would add land rental for the new cities of refuge, 2 humanitarian zones in the EU, 2 in Africa. 175 hectares is enough land to house 100,000 refugees and prefab housing. That's equivalent to 6 parcs and conteneurs, the elegant park beside the Commission. Even Luxembourg could spare the space. Add on food services, medical facilities, sanitation, security services and other critical needs, then proceed to checkout. Well, at the checkout, President Juncker can choose some payment options. EU emergency funds, let's say 3 billion euros, the United Nations, $2 billion, crowdfunding with a 1 billion target in 6 months, the Arab League, $3 billion, and even Russia can chip in with $1 billion or 2. Well, it's better than giving millions to Marine Le Pen. Of course, it isn't as simple as that, and Sven Giegold thinks it's wrong to even compare business and politics in this way.
The comparison between business and politics is intellectually a bit poor, because the whole point of business is you serve your customers. As politicians, we have to find solutions for all of the society, while customers can choose the company they like. In politics, it is about what can we do all together. And this is what is so difficult when it comes to migration or the euro. And therefore, the principles of business do not help when you have to find consensus. So that is still the job of politics.
If Amazon makes a decision to implement something across all of its companies, it implements it. It's more difficult in a circumstance where some of the countries that make up the 28 don't fundamentally agree with the approach that's been taken by the majority.
It's always, when it comes to the implementation, the responsibility of member states, because we can just make whatever it takes from Brussels to help member states, but the responsibility is there. Administrative capacity is very important, sometimes more important than money.
If Europe has an ambition to be a strong player on the global level, we have no other chance only to be more effective and more maybe responsive and flexible.
Politicians are all talk, no action, nothing gets done. Nothing gets done.
In the United States, this guy is leading the Republican pack. He wants to be president, he wants to get results, and he says he knows how because he's been in business. And we don't even need to mention his name because he's such a recognizable brand. Also running is Carly Fiorina, an experienced tech CEO. Fiorina's elevator pitch is that she knows how to create jobs, cut red tape, and she's got a big vision for the country.
We know the only way to reimagine our government is to reimagine who is leading it.
But is Trump's ride to the top more to do with a public craving for authenticity? Have American politicians lost their brand value? And let's ask the same question of Europe. With every crisis achingly unsolved, Greece, youth unemployment, migration, are Europe's citizens losing faith in the brand values of the European Union? Have we come so far only now to see Europe's shareholders refuse to invest any further? Europe needs a new elevator pitch, and it needs to deliver on time, or more people will want their money and sovereignty brought back home.